Last week I was listening to an interview with former General Hugh Shelton, I believe it was, the former Joint Chief, and the interviewer brought up the don't ask, don't tell, and he just danced around it, essentially saying, it's not my decision. It's not my decision. How do you, if the senior leadership is looking at it as not their decision, who's it going to fall on, especially if there's a now grassroots campaign against it? And how do you feel, did you ever find any other officers in your infantry units that felt the same way as you?
Thank you. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris. Chris asked two questions. Number one, when generals, they, like Hugh Shelton, dance around the issue, and I don't know how he was dancing. Apparently, if you're really gay, then you dance with your elbows really high. That's how you know if you're gay. But apparently, Hugh Shelton was dancing around this issue. He was a general and was in charge of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And yes, well, where does the responsibility lie? Where does the buck stop? You know, when people are going to say, well, it's not my decision, it's not my decision, not my decision, not my decision. And to answer that, it is everybody's responsibility. Not just for people who are in power, but as you noted, the grassroots people to stand up and say, you know what, I am a citizen. Everybody's saying that the only way to hold leaders accountable is to rock the vote. Right? You hear, rock the vote, rock the vote, rock the vote. Well, what you going to do after November when you've rocked the vote? You know, you just going to go fall asleep and you feel like, oh, I can't do anything because I rocked the vote in November. Rock the vote, rock the vote. Fuck the vote. Rock the vote. You have one voice if you rock the vote in November. You have 2 votes if you stand up against those people who are oppressing you. You have 3 votes if you get other people to stand up against. You have 4 votes if you threaten your congressman. You have 5 votes if you get other people to threaten. This is not a representative democracy. If all leaders were so representative, then we shouldn't have an 80% approval rate for getting rid of don't ask, don't tell. Well, you have how many percent people in Congress are trying to get rid of? You call that representative? I think representative democracy has failed. It's not a representative democracy, it is a participatory democracy. And it is incumbent on all of us to do everything that we can. You don't have to have a degree in politics, you don't have to have a certain amount of money, you don't have to have a Rolodex for all the people that go to cocktail parties with you, you don't have to have that in order to participate. All I had was a set of handcuffs. Went over to the White House a couple times. Stopped traffic out in Las Vegas. These are things I do in my spare time. How you participate, you know, the ways that you are able to affect the people who are in power, that's your power. And don't let anybody tell you that this is the way that it must be done. Because those people have always existed, and they've always said, you know what, that's not the one to hold accountable. You know, that general, it's not his decision. Or said, Obama, he can't really do it all over here. You know, what if some other president comes on in and undoes the executive order? You know, well, what if a new Congress comes in and undoes the statute? You've been talking about it's not their responsibility, it's not their responsibility, it's not their responsibility. It is everybody's responsibility. And if they're going to strip people's rights, you know, who are vulnerable today, using an ideology that only certain people are allowed certain rights, then who's next? You have not all of us stand up. Like Antoine Dodson said, they are raping everybody out here. Right? They're climbing up your windows, they're snatching your people up. Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they're raping everybody out here. You are so dumb, for real. You left the t-shirt and your ID, you don't have to confess, we're going to find you, we're going to find you. Run and tell that, run and tell that. Home boy, home boy. They're raping everybody out. Who's next? Who's going to get raped to their civil rights next? And that's what we have to remember. If we let people who have a certain ideology come out and steal certain things, and we're all just saying, well, this is the person that we have to target. No, this is the person we have to target. You're wrong. You're politically naive. You don't have a Rolodex. You haven't been there. You haven't been past those secret meetings that we had in the White House. I've been to the White House a couple times. Just never inside. I think every single person needs to step up and participate in the way that they can. And anybody who tells you otherwise is an enemy of democracy. And your second question, I forgot your second question.
How did other infantry officers feel about repealing it?
Oh, how my peers and infantry officers feel about repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I think infantry officers, particularly the ones that signed up after September 11th, in a time of war, They are so educated, and all they want to do, they don't want to go and be a general. They don't want to go and climb the ladder. In fact, what you're seeing in a culture gap, you talk about culture war, there is a culture war that exists within the military. For those people who are just in it to get a career and to get rank and to get status, and those people who really just want to serve. And they want to do their time and then just get the hell out. And those people, by and large, this voluntary force. It's not the careerists that are making up the force. And so when you talk about these people who are my compatriots, those people, they're fine with it. They're okay with it. Doesn't matter what their branch is. But all people around, they will realize that. It's all of our responsibility, no matter what our branch. Service is not about rank. Service is not about pension. Service is not about how much money you make. Service is about being part of something that is greater than yourself. And when you put on that uniform, you do it because you fight for freedom and justice. And if you are putting on that uniform for any other reason, you don't deserve to be in the military. You don't deserve to wear that uniform. Thanks.
Thank you.